I'm like a fifth generation Burbanker, and my dad had a mentor who was my grandfather's best friend who had a home on Little Island.
Mentored him in?
Mentored him in everything in life.
An early level mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Now everyone has one.
Yeah, I know. It was a big deal back
So
in
you'd
the
come
20s
down,
and 30s.
Summers.
Right. So I was born in 55, but they came. My brother was born in 50, and my sister was born in 52. So I have lots of pictures of them here prior to me. They would come down, stay in the house, and then the same story you've heard from every person. He offered to sell my dad the house, but my parents were very poor, and so my dad didn't have that kind of money. $11,000 or something to buy the house.
Let me tell you something. Looking at all the boats, even in the worst recessions, I've been here since 90, some people did buy that house.
Yes, they did. We ended up in 1983 moving to the island, and we rented houses on Coral Avenue and on Onyx. And then we decided it wasn't a great place for kids, because in the 80s there weren't any kids here.
Right.
There were like 3 kids on the school bus, but we always wanted to live here. We felt that it was like being in mid-Iowa. It was corny. You had these corny pancake breakfasts, and they didn't have the parade yet because that came later with the new fire station. But they did have all these little events, and you knew your neighbors, and you could just walk to the market and walk to eat, and it was just perfect. And it was ideal, and it was out of the Newport rush. On Balboa Island, you could not tell who had money and who didn't. You couldn't tell who was renting and who had.
They could be wearing shorts, they could be wearing a suit.
Right. We bought here in 2002.
Where about?
On Pearl Avenue, where we live now. A lot of people have died trying to get in and out of this bay. So McFadden calls his friends in Washington, D.C. at the Army Corps of Engineers and says, come out here and give us some money because we want you to dredge this bay so we can make this great port that we want. So they come out, they park their ship off the peninsula. They try and come in, but they're very angry. The report is angry because it's dangerous coming in and out of the entrance. Too shallow, shifting sandbars, no jetties to protect you. And you know how the wedge goes. You've got waves coming in all these different directions, right? So they say no. It's going to be millions of dollars, and we're going to give it to Banny to improve his port, and we're not going to give it to you, but we have some really good advice for you. You've heard that saying, still water runs deep. So there's very still water up that point on the peninsula. If you put a huge wharf there, you don't have to dredge at all. You could bring the biggest ships in the world onto this wharf without doing another thing. So he says, okay. He bought the entire bay for $1 an acre. It was tide and overflow land. So now he owns all of that. McFadden runs this business for like 12 years. He doesn't get to be the big port because they gave the money to Banny. Okay, so it's a small port. McFadden is discouraged. He didn't get what he wanted, so now he's ready to leave. He's from New York. So he sells everything to Collins. Collins is an idea man. He is from Indiana, poor farmer. He ends up with all of this land. He starts renting it to people. Then he says, this isn't enough. I can make money out of sand. And that's where he gets the idea. He gets the dredger. He's going to make this island that almost touches the peninsula. He's going to put, cars are brand new. He's going to put a race car track around the perimeter of the island. We have that alley today. You know the alley that goes, the north and south alleys?
To use them every day.
Okay, that's the racetrack. There's older residents that know the older history, and there's possibly people that know the newer history, but I probably think I have not met anyone who knows the continuous history as much as Heidi and I do of what we've read and put together. Because when we did put together our tour, we had like 10 hours worth of information, and the hard part, just like putting this museum together, the hard part was cutting it it's very hard to write a story this short because you have to decide.
Mark Twain. I'm sorry it was so long. I didn't have time to make it short.
Right, exactly. That's totally getting these in this format. Every single thing that I wrote in here started 20 times longer.